Hey guys, so I'm going to continue doing sound design on this motion graphic video that I found, and I'm just going to play the video again so that you can see what we're working on and what we're working with. So it's quite minimal. I think in combination with the music, that's going to be a lot. It's going to make a lot more sense to hear the music together with that. So let's say we add music to this. So now what you can actually hear is that it's a completely different balance between effects and music. So a lot more sound effects will be way less obvious in the music, and essentially by adding this music track we would have to rethink how much do we want to have the sound effects pop up over the music in order to really get a good feel for every effect like this one. So what we have for the hit, or let's say the magic wand drum hit, it feels like a good attack, but we might want to actually add another one, which is a bit more attacky, a bit more snappy, in order to really punch out of the mix. Let me just get Soundly up, and let's see. So it might sound strange, but it's an effect like this one that if you add that softly in the mix, that you really get a good defined snap over the music. Let's see what we have added here. So I think it works. It also adds and blends with the music quite nicely. So you should be able to hear that. Now, I think what I also would like to do is still accentuate the other. We've got one hit, but actually many cylinders are being triggered at the same time with this circular effect. So I think what would be fun to do is if we add a delay effect. Now, a very classic delay to be using is a stereo delay. I usually for this waves H delay, I just tap the speed. I go to milliseconds. I tap the speed because if you do it from BPM or host, then it will always snap to a grid that you see here. So always just switch to milliseconds, tap the delay that you think is necessary for it. I'm just going to do a quick one, and I'm going to press apply. So here you can hear the delay. And what we'll be using with this delay, the idea of this delay is just so that it gets a little, we see a visual echo pretty much, and we get an audible echo. And I'm just going to shift it a couple of frames later. And I'm going to just edit away the initial hit. There. Now, continuing to mix this with music, let's see what we miss from the whole section by playing it from the start. So I think what we miss is something a bit more glitchy here. Now, luckily, if you go into the library and search for glitch, there are good glitch sound effects available. We don't really need a long one, so now something what I want to do is I would like to have a effect for these cylinders being visually being seen. So we already have a whoosh underneath that. This is how it sounds, and the music already has a type of rolling type of effect on top of it, which helps. But I want to add a different layer to it, so I think I'm going to go for looking in something like a texture sound that I'm going to convert into a little bit of a whoosh. So do you hear that? This texture just created this little layer of high-end sizzle just on top of that this section, so that it just feels a little bit more as if we've got something happening on the appearance of these cylinders. Now, I'm still actually not really happy with the attack on the drum hit, so I'm going to find a snap, a very short snap, so that we can layer that exactly on this drum hit that we have happening here. Right, so, and don't be afraid to turn it loud, because you want to get it on top of your music. You want to hear it on top of your music. Okay, that's way too loud, the snap. Let's turn it down. Okay, we've got the snap at a level we like. Now what I'm going to do is just press beam. I don't know, I was just thinking of beam, and I thought maybe we will have some nice effects with a beam sound. Let's see. Sorry, that's my background noise. So for some weird reason, I like this random sound of a knife being sharpened. Let's see. See, and it kind of works underneath. So this is the way I sound design actually. I just plunk sounds underneath something and I layer and I listen to the texture, I listen to what happens. So it's just it's always a bit of an experimental ground. And let's see if we want something else. Now I think okay, this might be a good sound to have. Let's see. Could it work somewhere else? Maybe at this turning. So let's see. Now the sound works, but what we notice here, there is a slowing down of the spin of this effect. So what we could do is slow down this effect as well. Let's do pitch shift, reset. This is way too much. All right, then we so this should create a little bit of a ew effect. See, so it kind of tapers off. It's very, very useful to have on any type of sound. Okay, so now we kind of have that sound by itself, and I feel that there should be something for this section that we just blow up this square. I don't know what yet, so I just usually revert to this, just sounds that I find and I process them. Let's reverse it. Okay, so that works. This reversed, this type of reversed zip sound. That I like. So I think that works there. And then again, let's add a delay on there. Now, well, let's see, let's add one that's a bit more sound designy. And as you can see, I just don't particularly go straight to a default, or I'm just randomly pressing here just to see if I can find something I like. No. No. That'll be the same. Spaces. This must be it. Where is my playhead? My effect isn't working. Classics, table echo. Haha, okay. So the plugin is simply not working. All right, fine. Different delay then. Okay, I've got something delaying. So let me just speed them up real quick. More that. I think that works. So it's, if I solo it. Now let's see, for this movement, this zoom, so it's gonna be another whoosh because there are so many types of movements. That could be the one. Let's see. So this whoosh that we added is actually the one where it's lifting up the ball. So if you dissect everything that you see into little segments of movements, then you can sort of see what type of effects are useful for what you're seeing. So I like the ball entering into the circle, but I feel that there's still something needed in the low end of it. Now, also in terms of sound effects and what to add, I always am thinking about the low end of the spectrum, the mid range of the spectrum, and the high end of the spectrum, and what type of effects might work there. So depending on the music and depending on the gaps in space inside the music, you can play around with any type of sounds to fit in between this frequency layers. So I still want something in a low ND for this movement, that we kind of take the camera from the over the top view and we go to see the side. I'm not sure what whoosh yet. And what you'll see me do is I just use my scroller, my knob control scroll wheel, and I just press. And hey, maybe this whoosh works, and then I try it out. So I I'm not picky with what sounds that I'm using. I'm always layering and trying out sounds that I find on the go on the first round. So stretch this out. Okay, so now let's use a drum hit. Just for the low end on this expanding of the squares. So something simple. And now for this section that we have this metallic click for it. What we can do, the sound of a Rubik's cube.
Welcome to my domain.
Or ice cubes. Rubik's cubes with a K. So the sound of a Rubik's cube, let's see how we've got that working here. Okay, so we've added the layer of the Rubik's cube. I think it fits with the tempo of the flipping of the cylinder. And all together. Now here's a fun one for the white dot being squished. So we can have maybe a mechanical sound for that square at the top that's coming in. So mechanical, and let's see how we go. These are very intense. Maybe that for the square being introduced. Yeah, that works. Rhythmic with the music as well. Now let's see something that bounces. Bounce. No, don't want to look that. All right, so what we can do is, I like the sound. We can have this bounce sound, this bounce, at its second bounce. And then what we could do is we could add a pitch effect again for it being squashed. And then we end it there. So, digital glitch. Let's see. Yeah, I think for the squish, that would be a good one. And more something like a banana. Another peel. Yeah, something sounding a bit squishy. Let's see. That where we want to squish there. Okay, so now you can see that we're adding more and more detail to the layers and to the individual movements, and you can now have a clearer vision of how I approach adding layers and textures and sounds. I'm gonna make a part 3 where we're gonna go into more detail, and I'm gonna cut the video short here. So thanks for following me, if you have been following me for this last 20 to 30 minutes, and see you in part 3 for this section. Bye.